Okay, we are back with some Premier League predictions. Now, I've done this plenty of times in the past. You know the drill if you've watched one of these videos before. Essentially, we go through the game week that's upcoming, have a look at the fixtures, see if we can predict any of the right results, and usually end up failing. As with every Premier League prediction that I do, first we take a look at the previous game week, so game week 30 in this case, have a look at how well I did, and then we move on to the upcoming game week. We're going to start off with the Saturday fixtures and Manchester United versus Everton. Now I predicted 3-1 to United. It was actually 2-0 to United. And Manchester United weren't too troubled by the Merseyside team as they comfortably saw off Everton. The Toffees set up to frustrate United, but Ten Hag's team were able to beat them pretty comfortably. There are a few periods in the match where Everton, tried to attack, but Manchester United never really felt under pressure. And then we move on to Aston Villa versus Nottingham Forest. Now I predicted 4-0 to Villa, and it was only 2-0. It was a very informed Villa side that hosted a floundering Nottingham Forest, but they weren't as dominant as I expected. Forest tried a new setup, and it actually worked well in the first half before a Shelvey error gifted Villa the lead. Why didn't he just clear it? Watkins then added at the death, but I think we all knew he was going to score a goal. But Forest, I thought they played pretty well in the first half. We actually kept it 0-0 at the break. It was just a Shelvey error which undid all the good work we had done. Then move on to Brentford versus Newcastle. I predicted 3-2 to Newcastle. It was actually 2-1. Newcastle ended Brentford's magnificent home run as Ivan Toney had a goal ruled out, missed a penalty, and then scored one. Joe Linton levelled things up, and Isaac scored a peach to give Newcastle all 3 points. And what a strike it was, my god. Isaac's definitely gotten used to the Premier League now. He's been here for a good couple months, and what a fucking goal that was, my god. And then move on to Fulham versus West Ham United. Now I predicted 2-1 to Fulham. It was actually 1-0 to West Ham. It was another huge win for the Hammers as Fulham struggled to break down their London rivals. It was a Fulham own goal that gifted West Ham the lead, but Fulham are clearly feeling the absence of Mitrovic as they could not score another goal. Definitely looks like Fulham have collapsed after the FA Cup, I'll say that much. Then move on to Wolverhampton Wanderers versus Chelsea. Now I predicted a 1-1 draw. It was actually 1-0 to Wolves. And it was another vital win for Wolves as their bid to stay in the Premier League gets strengthened. Chelsea looked lacklustre as Frank Lampard returned for his managerial stint as a caretaker. It was a brilliant goal from Nunez which gave Wolves a massive 3 points. Then we move on to Tottenham Hotspur versus Brighton And Hove Albion. I predicted 2-1 to Brighton. It's actually 2-1 to Spurs. And it was a shocking refereeing decision. It was shocking refereeing that essentially gave Tottenham all 3 points. Brighton were denied a penalty that would have changed the game if it had gone in, but it was a huge big 3 points for Spurs in their quest for a top 4 finish. But yeah, Brighton got really hard done by the refereeing in this match. It was shocking. Yes, they got an apology, but in the grand scheme of things, that does nothing. Then move on to Leicester City versus Bournemouth. I predicted 2-0 to Leicester. It's actually just 1-0 to Bournemouth. It was a huge win for Bournemouth in their quest for Premier League survival that saw them go 3 points clear of the relegation zone. Leicester didn't look great as the show took all 3 points back to the coast. Very shocking from Leicester as they gifted the lead to Bournemouth, but Bournemouth had to finish it and they did, so fair play. And then we move on to Southampton versus Manchester City. I predicted 4-0 to Man City. It's actually 4-1. Haaland was back amongst the goals as he returned to the lineup, and City were just dominant from the off. The Saints did defend as best they could, perhaps keeping the scoreline tighter than it might have been. That was an outrageous goal from Haaland. That acrobatic effort was insane. Bro just thought, fuck it, I'm going to be Wayne Rooney from the EA Sports intro. And then we move on to Sunday's fixtures and Leeds United versus Crystal Palace. Now I predicted 2-2. It's actually 5-1 to Palace. And I don't know what Roy has done, but it was an absolute demolition job as Palace came from behind to decimate the Yorkshire side. Elise was crucial for the Eagles as he assisted 3 of those 5 goals, and I'm really being made to eat my words about Roy and goal scoring. When he first came in, I didn't think he'd fix Palace's goal scoring woes, but clearly I need whatever he's given them, man, because they're in some insane form. 2 games, 2 wins, not insane form, but better than they were doing. And then finally move on to Liverpool versus Arsenal. I predicted 3-1 to Arsenal. It was actually 2-2, and Liverpool threw a spanner in Arsenal's plans as they managed to share the points at Anfield. It was a spectacular fight back that saw the home side come from 2 goals down to level things up. Even Jesus rising to the cross on Easter Sunday could not win it for the Gunners, as biblical as that would have been. Looks like my title might have been correct. So yeah, those have been my reactions to Game Week 30. We didn't get any of the predictions right. I don't think anyone expected anything other than that from me. We got 1 prediction right last week, but that was looking more and more like an anomaly as I make these videos. I was doing so well at the beginning of this season, and then the international break just ruined it all for me. I'm going to start off with Aston Villa versus Newcastle United. Now this is two informed sides clash in Birmingham as the Villains host Newcastle United. Both sides have been enjoying good seasons. Well, Newcastle have. Villa have after Emery's come in, but under Gerrard they weren't doing too hot. Both sides are currently sitting in the top half of the table in what will become a very exciting race for European football next season. Do I think Aston Villa are in it? Maybe they could squeeze in there, but I wouldn't say they're one of the big sides in the race. Both sides have been in a great run of form, with each side picking up 12 and 15 points respectively from their last 5 fixtures. This should be a very interesting clash between the two sides, as they look quite evenly matched on paper, with each team scoring goals for fun both home and away. Despite nursing some injuries, they're still able to play attacking football without any issue. I'm going to say 2-1 to Villa. I think Aston Villa will just take it at Villa Park. Newcastle United played good football away from home, but they did have some issues against Brentford and could have easily dropped points. Villa, on the other hand, play some really good football at home and will use that to their advantage, and will definitely be looking to frustrate the Geordies. It's looking like it'll be a very tight match between both sides, but a very good one nonetheless. And then move on to Southampton versus Crystal Palace. The struggling Saints host a Palace side that has begun to take flight. Southampton currently find themselves rock bottom of the league and are in a desperate need to pick up the points in this final run-in. Palace have turned their fortunes around since they brought in Roy, picking up all 6 points on offer since he took charge and having no problem scoring goals. There was a fear amongst Palace fans that they could slip into a relegation battle, but those fears were swiftly squashed as they started picking up points and scoring goals. I'm saying 3-0 to Palace. Palace will be riding high after demolishing Leeds and will be looking to continue their goal scoring exploits. Southampton aren't the greatest side defensively and can be quite leaky when facing attacking sides. Palace will be looking to exploit that, and with players like Elise, they should be able to. Southampton can be threatening from set pieces and do have a solid set of attacking players in their ranks, but Palace are good at the back, and I don't really see the Saints being able to break them down. I think it'll be a very interesting match because Palace are in good goal scoring form at the moment, scored 7 in their last 2 matches, so yeah, Southampton, they're in trouble for sure. And then move on to Everton versus Fulham. The Toffees host a Fulham side that has not been in great form recently, which has seen them slide down the table in recent times. Everton have had a slightly better run of it recently, picking up more points than the Cottagers, but are only above the relegation zone by goal difference alone. Everton have been hardest to beat at home, and it has seen them pick up some very important points in their quest for survival, and has kept them just out of the relegation zone. Fulham, on the other hand, have not been enjoying the success they were having before the FA Cup fixture against Manchester United. I didn't expect them to feel the loss of Mitrovic as much as they have, and while it's not the be-all and end-all for them, performances have definitely dropped off since his absence. This is very good news for teams facing Fulham, as they won't have to worry about the Serbian causing them any problems. Everton do set up very defensively under Dyche, and will be looking to keep Fulham out, and without Mitrovic, that job will be a lot easier. I'm saying 1-0 to Everton. I think Everton will manage to do the business here, but only just. I do think it will still be a very tight match. Fulham are not enjoying a good run of form at the moment, but they're basically safe. There's no real need or real urgency for them to fix this form, so they could just let it run off till the end of the season, but that would see them drop, of course. I think it's a very opportune time for teams to face Fulham, and they need to capitalise on the absence of their top goal scorer if more teams want to grab some points. But yeah, Fulham are not looking great at the moment, especially without Mitrovic. And then move on to Tottenham Hotspur versus Bournemouth. The Cherries travel to London to face Spurs in a very important match for them. The travelling side are currently 3 points clear of the relegation zone, but will need all the points they can get to solidify their chance of survival. Tottenham are still in the race for top 4, and likewise need all the points they can get to qualify for Champions League football next season. Spurs have had a wobble recently, with them dropping points in 3 of their last 5 matches, but will see this as a fixture which they'll be able to pick up maximum points in. Bournemouth have been enjoying some decent form recently, winning 3 and losing 2 in their last 5. And it's been 1 win followed by 1 loss, and I do see that streak continuing with this clash against Spurs. I'm saying 2-0 to Tottenham. I see Tottenham winning this one against Bournemouth. Spurs dropped out of Europe in their last 16, and now their entire focus will be on securing another top 4 finish so they can return to the Champions League next season. Bournemouth are not a great side defensively, and the Spurs front line should give them plenty of issues to deal with. This, combined with Spurs' much better form at home, will make this a very tough clash for the Cherries. If anyone can grab a result here, it would be Bournemouth though, as they've done this quite a few times this season already. I mean, the most recent one was against Liverpool, so if any team could do it, it would be Bournemouth. And then we move on to Wolverhampton Wanderers versus Brentford. Now this is a big match for Wolves as they host Brentford at the Molineux, as they look to further themselves from the relegation zone. However, unfortunately for Wolves, they'll be without Ruben Neves and Johnny through suspension. Ruben Neves, probably one of their best players, so it's not good that they're missing him. Well, it's good for people who want Wolves to fail, but for Wolves fans it's not great. Both teams have not been in the best form recently, but Wolves have had the better run, with them picking up 2 wins, whereas Brentford have only got 1 in the past 5. Wolves beat Chelsea at home last week, While it's not a great Chelsea side, it's still a very important 3 points for the West Midlands side, and shows that they have what it takes to stay up. However, this Brentford side will be a tougher task for Wolves, as they've been performing better than their London counterparts. Brentford themselves played some really good football and were hard done by in their clash with Newcastle, as it was unfortunate they couldn't get anything from this match. The game is the game, and at the end of the day, that's not going to change. I'm saying 2-1 to Brentford. I think Brentford will get something from this clash, however. While they aren't as good away from home as they are at home, this is a very formidable Brentford side, still very strong, still got Ivan Toney, so he's always going to cause issues. Wolves have shown they have what it takes to claim all 3 points from some stronger sides, but I can really see them struggling against the Bees. This is definitely a big match for Wolves, and also sort of a big match for Brentford, as they need to start getting back to winning ways, and I see this as a good match for them to do that. Then move on to Chelsea versus Brighton and Hove Albion. This is Frank Lampard's first game at Stamford Bridge after he was brought in to manage Chelsea until the end of the season. This is a very tough match at that. Now this is a formidable Brighton side who currently sit in 7th and are also 7 points clear of the Blues, and I'd say they've been enjoying a far better season than them too, especially under De Zerbi. Brighton have dropped points in recent fixtures but are still a very, very good side who play some brilliant football. They're a joy to watch. Chelsea, on the other hand, have probably been having a season to forget, currently sitting outside the top 10, with European football slipping out of their grasp as well, especially if they fail to pick up points. They will not qualify next season either. It isn't looking like it'll be a nice return to Stamford Bridge for Lampard, as I'm saying 3-1 to Brighton. I think Brighton should be able to beat Chelsea, even at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea have dropped a surprising amount of points at the Bridge this season, and I don't see that stopping here. The football Brighton are playing under De Zerbi is very attractive, with a focus on attacking football, and their goals are flown because of it. And it'll be very tough for Chelsea to handle, and I'm not sure Lampard has what it takes to set up Chelsea in a way to stop Brighton, and definitely won't keep them out. And then we move on to Manchester City versus Leicester City. This is title-chasing Manchester City host a floundering Leicester side who have just appointed Dean Smith. Now I think Dean Smith is a smart appointment from Leicester. He did manage Norwich as they got relegated and did fail to win a lot of championship matches, but I do believe there's still a good manager in there. Just look at the job he did at Villa. It'll be very interesting to see how he does at Leicester and if he can keep them up. Manchester City are currently chasing Arsenal for the title, and at the moment will be looking to pick up maximum points and keep themselves in the title race, and also hoping Arsenal drop more points. Leicester on the other hand have not had a great season, and that is reflected in their current league position. They're currently sitting just above the bottom of the league after struggling to pick up points under Brendan Rodgers. It'll be very interesting to see how they play under Dean Smith and whether the Englishman can turn around their fortunes in this final run-in. However, I'm saying 4-0 to Manchester City. All I can see is a Manchester City dominating Leicester here. As I've said, Manchester City are in great form at the moment, both domestically and in the Champions League, and they have the squad depth to be competitive in both. Just looking at Leicester's recent form this season and the power of the side that is Manchester City only leads me to believe that Leicester will get dominated in Manchester, and I don't think anyone is expecting any different. And then we move on to the Sunday fixtures and West Ham United versus Arsenal. A London derby which is a struggling West Ham side hosting top of the league Arsenal. This is a very important match for both sides. Arsenal will want to keep themselves ahead in the race for the title, whereas West Ham need all the points they can get in order to stave off relegation. Now West Ham do currently sit 3 points clear of the relegation zone, but will need to collect further points in order to secure themselves for next season. Arsenal have been playing some great football this season under Mikel Arteta, and despite dropping points to Liverpool, still look like they secure the title this season. West Ham have had a very up and down season themselves, and have struggled at times with pressure being placed on Moyes multiple times throughout the season. I reckon we'll see him leave in the summer. Both teams are suffering from some injuries with major players out for both sides. I'm going to say 3-0 to Arsenal. I can't see Arsenal being too troubled against West Ham, much like when the Hammers hosted Newcastle earlier. The Gunners are top of the league for a good reason and will be doing everything they can to secure that title. They play some great attacking football and will cause West Ham a lot of problems at the London Stadium. It should be fairly comfortable for Arsenal, as the Hammers don't really look threatening in my opinion. Then move on to Nottingham Forest versus Manchester United. Nottingham Forest versus Manchester United at the City Ground in a huge game in their quest for Premier League survival. Forest are in a terrible run of form at the moment and desperately need to stop picking up points if they have any hopes of surviving another season of the Premier League. They faced Manchester United in the Carabao Cup earlier in the season, which saw Manchester win 3-0. However, Forest have been thrown a small lifeline as Marcus Rashford is set to miss out in this clash. It's the little things. Forest do play better at home and have shown some great football in their match against Villa. Now while they did lose that match, it was very, very interesting to see how we set up and how we actually played. I thought we did quite well, to be honest. So it'll be very important to build upon that for this match. Manchester United are one of the best teams in the league this season and are currently embroiled in the race for top 4. And as you know what? They have a very, very good case for getting it. It's going to be extremely tough for Forest to get anything from this match with the current form Manchester United are in. And I'm saying 3-0 to the Red Devils. I'm going for another repeat of what we saw in the Carabao Cup, minus Rashford's antics. While Manchester United have fallen away from home at points during the season, I can't see this Forest side being able to take advantage of that. Though saying that, we did see them take a point from City earlier in the season, so it'll be very interesting to see if Forest can do a repeat of that here, or even go one better, although I very much doubt it. United will definitely miss Rashford, but have players who can fill in that role, maybe not effectively, but will definitely still cause Forest some problems. I can't say I'm looking forward to this clash, but United, they're a very good side, and I'm sure they'll have an easy time in Nottingham. And finally, Monday's fixture of Leeds United versus Liverpool. And finally, Leeds United host a Liverpool side as they desperately need to start getting more points on the board. In the reverse fixture, Leeds grabbed a sensational win over Liverpool at Anfield and will be hoping they can take another 3 points here. Leeds were taken apart by Palace last week and we're looking to ensure that does not happen again. Luckily for Leeds fans though, Liverpool don't look as lethal as Palace, and while they'll definitely cause problems, I don't think it'll be the same level that Palace did, which is something I did not think I'd be saying this season. Liverpool have not had the best of seasons, but managed to share the points with Arsenal after staging an impressive comeback at Anfield. Leeds are in a tough place at the moment as they currently find themselves just 2 points above the relegation zone, and will definitely need to stop picking up points to ensure their survival. I'm saying 2-1 to Liverpool though. I think Liverpool will manage to beat Leeds at Elland Road and avenge that shock result from earlier in the season. Leeds have not been great defensively this season, especially recently. Palace showcased that best as they put 5 past them, and even Nottingham Forest managed to score, which, is crazy. Liverpool will be looking to exploit that, and with the attacking talent they have, I'm sure they will. It'll be a very good win for Klopp too, if it comes off, as his side will look to join the race for top 4 to ensure they are playing Champions League football next season, which at the moment looks highly unlikely. But yeah, those have been my Game Week 31 Premier League predictions. If you have any of your own, please leave them in the comments down below. I do enjoy seeing what you guys are cooking up. But yeah, I've been O2GT. Please like, subscribe down below. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.